Alright, buckle up, because I'm about to hit you with the first few chapters of The Witches by Roald Dahl, retold with a whole lot of sass, drama, and a dash of that Gen Z flair. If you've never heard of this story, just picture Stranger Things vibes mashed up with a grandma who might secretly be a monster hunting boss. Let's dive in. So, we kick things off with our narrator. He doesn't have a name, which is kinda mysterious, but also low-key lazy if you ask me, giving us a major PSA about witches. Forget the pointy hats and green faces like in The Wizard of Oz. These witches are next-level creeps. They're not even human, they're demons in disguise, and their whole mission in life? To wipe kids off the face of the earth. Yep, you read that right. These witches are gunning for kids like they're playing some twisted version of Fortnite, and we're all just loot for them to eliminate. Here's the tea, witches look like regular people, but they've got some serious red flags. They're bald, so they rock itchy wigs that make them scratch their heads like they're trying to DJ their scalps. They've got claws instead of fingernails, but hide them under gloves, Michael Jackson vibes, but make it sinister. Oh, and their spit is blue. Like, Smurf spit blue. The narrator's grandmother drops all this intel in the first chapter, and you can tell she knows her stuff. She's like a walking anti-witch Wikipedia, and the way she talks about witches? Chef's kiss. She's not sugarcoating a single thing. This grandma, though, let me tell you, she's not your typical cookie-baking, PBS-watching grandma. She's a straight-up legend. She's Norwegian, smokes cigars like she's in an old gangster movie, and has stories for days. She even lost a finger back in the day, which makes her extra hardcore. When she starts explaining witches, it's like she's dropping lore from a dark fantasy anime. She tells the narrator that witches don't just kill kids outright, nah, that would be too basic. Instead, they turn them into animals or make them vanish entirely. One kid from her village got turned into a stone statue and had to just sit there, stone-cold chilling, while his family cried around him. Another poor girl got turned into a chicken. Imagine waking up one day and realizing you're poultry. Brutal. Now, fast forward a bit. The narrator's parents die in a car crash, major sad vibes, but don't get too stuck in your feels because the real action starts when he moves in with grandma in Norway. These two are tight, like Ash and Pikachu level tight, and they spend their days vibing in the countryside. Grandma keeps the witch lore coming, dropping breadcrumbs of info like we're on a scavenger hunt for nightmares. She warns him to always be on the lookout for witches and to never trust a woman in gloves. Seriously, it's giving trust issues a whole new meaning. Then comes a twist. Grandma gets sick, and instead of staying in Norway, they decide to hit up England for some sea air and a change of scenery. England is supposed to be chill, but plot twist, it's actually crawling with witches. Classic horror movie move, let's go somewhere safe, and then bam! You're in the lion's den. They check into this fancy seaside hotel, which sounds bougie until you realize it's basically the witch equivalent of a villain's guild meetup. Here's where things get juicy. The narrator is minding his own business, training his pet mice like it's Pokemon, Mouse Edition, when he accidentally stumbles into a secret meeting of witches. And not just any witches, the entire squad. It's like he walked into the Avengers of Evil and leading the charge. The Grand High Witch herself. She's not just any witch, she's the ultimate boss fight. Think Akaza from Demon Slayer, but scarier and rocking a human skin suit. The Grand High Witch is out here giving a TED talk on how to get rid of all the kids in England. Her plan? Straight up diabolical. She's got this magic potion that can turn kids into mice with just a drop. The witches are hyped, screaming, yes, queen, like this is some cult. And the Grand High Witch? She's basking in it, like a villain who knows she's got main character energy. But here's where it gets wild. She takes off her mask, and boom, her face is a straight-up horror show. Her eyes are burning like she's been staring into a gamer's RGB setup for too long, her nose looks like it's trying to flee from her face, and her mouth? Let's just say it's giving carnivorous plant. The narrator is hiding behind a screen, holding his breath like he's in a stealth mission in Metal Gear Solid. He knows if they catch him, it's game over, no respawn. The chapter ends on this nail-biting cliffhanger. The Grand High Witch is flexing her villainous genius, the other witches are losing their minds with excitement, and the narrator? He's just trying not to get caught. It's like watching someone try to solo a dungeon raid with zero gear. You're rooting for him, but you know the odds aren't looking great. And that's where we're at, folks. The vibe so far? Dark, creepy, and weirdly hilarious. The narrator's life has gone from cozy bedtime stories with grandma to being knee-deep in a live-action nightmare. It's giving major stay-tuned energy because things are about to get even crazier. If you're not hooked yet, what are you even doing? Alright, fam, let's get back into the madness of the witches and pick up where things start getting even spicier. We're talking summer holidays, potion making, and a villain squad that's dead set on turning the world into one big rodent rave. If you thought things were tense before, strap in, because it's about to go full chaos mode. So, the narrator and his grandma are living their best seaside hotel life, well, as best as it gets when you're basically on a collision course with pure evil. The summer holidays are supposed to be all about relaxing vibes, ice cream, and sunsets, right? Wrong. Grandma is out here still warning our boy about witches, like a walking anti-witch alarm system. Don't trust anyone in gloves, she says. Watch out for those itchy wig moments, she reminds him. It's like she knows something's about to pop off. Spoiler alert, she's right. While Grandma is out here being low-key clairvoyant, the narrator is minding his own business, training his pet mice like a wannabe Pokemon master. He's got this little duo, William and Mary, who he's teaching how to do tricks because, honestly, what else do you do at a stuffy seaside hotel as a kid? It's giving Animal Crossing vibes, but instead of decorating islands, he's creating a circus act with rodents. Solid summer hobby, I guess. One day, he sneaks into a big empty ballroom to train his mice in peace, total pro-gamer move. But plot twist! The ballroom isn't so empty after all. Turns out, the witches are having their annual convention there, which is basically the evil version of a Comic-Con meetup. They lock the doors, so now the narrator is trapped inside, hiding behind some screen, while the Grand High Witch struts in like a final boss. She's got her squad hyped up, laying down the master plan like she's running some villainous MLM scheme. Her energy is unmatched. Think Azula from Avatar, The Last Airbender, but even more terrifying and a lot less chill. She breaks it down, they're going to use this new potion, Formula 86 Delayed Action Mouse Maker, yeah, the name's a mouthful, to turn every kid in England into mice. And how are they going to pull this off? By spiking candy and chocolate in sweet shops. Honestly, the audacity. Candy is sacred. But these witches don't care, they're all about maximum chaos. The potion works like this, you eat it, and at exactly the right time, bam, you're a mouse. There's no antidote, no cheat code to undo it. This is a one-way trip to Rodent City. The Grand High Witch, being the drama queen she is, decides to flex how the potion works by turning this random woman, poor, clueless Delilah Jenkins, into a mouse right there. The demonstration is wild. One moment, she's a normal lady, the next, she's squeaking and running for her life. The other witches go nuts, cheering and cackling like they're at some twisted concert. The Grand High Witch is basking in the glory of her wicked genius, while the narrator is over here just trying to stay invisible, probably regretting all his life choices that led to this moment. Oh, and did I mention she's not a patient villain? One witch in her squad has the nerve to suggest an alternate plan, big mistake. The Grand High Witch turns her into a pile of ashes without even flinching. Like, girl, this is why you don't question the boss. It's giving Darth Vader choking out people who annoy him. Meanwhile, our boy is still hiding, trying not to breathe too loud because one slip up, and he's toast. After the witches finish hyping up their evil plan, they start getting down to business. The Grand High Witch pulls out bottles of the potion and hands them out like she's Oprah giving away cars. You get a potion. And you get a potion. They're all tasked with hitting up sweet shops, dosing the goodies, and waiting for the mayhem to start. They're loving it. Pure chaos energy all around. Just when you think it couldn't get worse, the narrator accidentally makes a noise. Like, bro, come on. The witches freeze. The Grand High Witch's ears practically twitch, and she's all, what was that? It's like that scene in Jurassic Park when the T-Rex hears the kids. The tension is sky high. They start sniffing around for the intruder because witches can smell kids. To them, kids smell like dog's droppings. Yeah, it's as gross as it sounds, but it's also the perfect way for them to track him down. Luckily, the narrator doesn't get caught this time. Barely. He's on full stealth mode, sneaking out of there like he's in Assassin's Creed. But the damage is done. He knows the witch's plan now, and it's terrifying. They've got enough potion to turn every kid into a mouse, and they're ready to roll. It's up to him and his grandma to stop them, but let's be real, what can a kid and his cigar-smoking grandma do against a whole squad of magical psychopaths? At this point, the stakes couldn't be higher. The narrator has seen their evil scheme up close, and he's lucky to have made it out alive. Meanwhile, the Grand High Witch is out there vibing with her squad, confident that nothing can stop them. It's giving endgame boss fight energy, and you just know things are about to go from bad to worse. Stay tuned, because this is where the story takes off. It's our boy and his grandma versus a whole witch army. And let's be real, it's not looking good for the home team right now. But if there's one thing we know about underdogs, it's that they've got a way of pulling off the impossible. Or at least, we hope. Alright, squad, here's the next episode in the wild saga that is the witches. Things are getting messy, dramatic, and, honestly, straight up terrifying, but with that edge of your seat energy that makes it impossible to stop reading. Let's dive in from when Bruno Jenkins, our walking disaster of a side character, gets his time to shine, or, more accurately, gets turned into a rodent. So, remember Bruno? The smug, chocolate-obsessed kid who thinks he's God's gift to snacks. Yeah, well, turns out Bruno's sweet tooth gets him into some serious trouble. The Grand High Witch promised him free chocolate earlier, but plot twist, it's spiked with the Formula 86 Delayed Action Mouse Maker. Bruno strolls into the witches' convention like it's snack time, completely unaware that he's about to become a live demonstration. This kid is pure comedic gold, obliviously stuffing his face while the witches look on like a crowd at a reality show elimination. Cue the drama, 1 second, he's a kid with chocolate all over his face, the next, bam, he's shrinking, sprouting fur, and squeaking like Pikachu on a bad day. And let me tell you, the witches love it. They're losing their minds, cheering like this is the Super Bowl of evil plans. Bruno, now a mouse, is scurrying around in total panic, and the narrator is watching this whole train wreck unfold from his hiding spot. It's like when you're spectating your teammate in a game after they totally botched their strategy, and you're just yelling at your screen, what are you doing? But there's nothing he can do, because, hello, witches everywhere. Things go from bad to worse real quick. The narrator tries to stay low-key, but of course, the witch's super sniffer noses start picking up on his scent. Remember, to them, kids smell like dog droppings, which is both hilarious and disgusting. The Grand High Witch zeroes in like a heat-seeking missile, and just like that, they've got him cornered. He tries to make a run for it, but it's no use. They grab him, force-feed him some of the potion, and, surprise, our boy is officially a mouse. Yup, he's joined Team Rodent. GG, no re. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You'd think being turned into a mouse would be game over, right? Nope. Our guy is surprisingly chill about the whole thing. Like, he's not thrilled, obviously, but he adapts fast. It's giving major Attack on Titan vibes when Eren realizes he's a Titan and is like, guess I'm rolling with this now. He figures out he can talk and think just like before, and he's immediately plotting his next move. Honestly, big respect for the resilience. Meanwhile, Bruno is still being Bruno, completely clueless that anything weird is going on. He's just vibing as a mouse, probably thinking about where his next snack is coming from. The narrator, now rocking his new mouse form, makes his way back to his grandma's room to break the news. And let me tell you, Grandma handles it like an absolute champ. She doesn't freak out or cry or anything. Instead, she's like, alright, you're a mouse now. Cool. Let's figure out how to wreck these witches. Total legend. The narrator lays out the witch's evil master plan to Grandma, poison all the candy in England, turn every kid into a mouse, and basically take over the world. Grandma isn't having any of it. She's like, not on my watch. So, together, they hatch a plan to take down the witches once and for all. Step 1. Steal some of that Formula 86 potion from the Grand High Witch's room. Step 2. Use it against them. Cue the stealth mission. The narrator sneaks into the Grand High Witch's room, and it's giving big Metal Gear Solid vibes. He's dodging traps, scaling furniture like he's in Uncharted, and narrowly avoiding getting caught. There's a moment where the Grand High Witch herself comes back to the room, and he has to hide under a bed. The tension is off the charts. Like, you know that moment in horror movies when the killer is inches away from finding the protagonist? Yeah, it's that kind of stress. But our boy pulls it off. He nabs a bottle of the potion, books it back to Grandma, and the two of them start prepping for their final showdown. Here's the plan, they're going to sneak into the witch's banquet, because of course these villains are treating themselves to a fancy meal after a hard day of scheming, spike their food with the potion, and let them turn into mice. It's bold, it's dangerous, and it's the kind of plan that either works perfectly or blows up in your face. No middle ground. And here's the thing, being a mouse actually has its perks. The narrator's small size makes him the ultimate stealth operative. He can sneak around undetected, climb things like Spider-Man, and fit into places no human ever could. Honestly, he's turning this whole mouse situation into a superpower. It's giving My Hero Academia Quirk Awakening energy, where he's suddenly realizing how to use his new form to outplay the witches. By the end of this stretch, you're hyped and ready for the showdown. The witches think they've won, but little do they know, they're about to get a taste of their own medicine, literally. It's underdog energy at its finest, and you can't help but root for our tiny hero and his absolute queen of a grandma. Stay tuned, because the final act is about to go off. Alright, buckle up, because we're cruising into the final act of The Witches, and let me tell you, it's straight fire. Our boy, now a mouse, and his OG, cigar-puffing grandma are about to pull off one of the most insane, high-stakes takedowns of all time. But first, there's Bruno. Yeah, remember Bruno? The kid who got turned into a mouse and somehow still thinks the world revolves around him? Classic Bruno. So, Grandma decides it's time to let Bruno's parents in on their kid's new situation. She calls them up and gets them into her hotel room. Now, Bruno's parents, let's just say they're not exactly candidates for Parents of the Year. His dad is this grumpy, high-strung dude, and his mom is so snooty she might as well have been sipping tea with her pinky out the whole time. Grandma is trying to break it to them gently, but Bruno's dad is not having it. He's all, where's my son? And Grandma's like, right there. The mouse. Cue absolute meltdown. Bruno's mom shrieks like she's in a Scream reboot, and his dad just refuses to believe it. Meanwhile, Bruno, as a mouse, is over here stuffing his face with peanuts, totally unbothered. Like, dude, read the room. Eventually, Bruno manages to convince his parents that, yep, it's really him. But his dad is still mad salty about it, blaming everyone but himself and acting like someone spilled hot coffee on his Gucci suit. Grandma handles it like a boss, basically telling them to chill out and deal with it. Bruno's parents leave, still totally freaked out, but honestly, who cares? This story isn't about them. It's about stopping the witches and saving the kids. Now, it's go time. Grandma and the narrator gear up for their ultimate plan, Operation Mousetrap. Here's the 411, the witches are having a fancy banquet downstairs, probably to celebrate their evil candy poisoning plan. The narrator, in full mouse mode, is about to infiltrate the banquet, spike their food with the Formula 86 delayed action mouse maker, and let chaos reign. It's basically a mission straight out of Call of Duty, except the stakes are way higher and the main weapon is a magical potion. The narrator sneaks down to the banquet room like a total ninja. He's got stealth moves that would put Solid Snake to shame. When he gets inside, it's everything you'd expect. The witches are chowing down on fancy food, laughing like a bunch of mean girls who just pulled the ultimate prank. The Grand High Witch is front and center, living her best life, totally unaware that she's about to get wrecked. Our boy climbs up a table leg, sneaks into the kitchen, and yeets the potion into a pot of green pea soup. And then? He just chills under the table, waiting for the fireworks. And oh boy, the fireworks do not disappoint. The witches start slurping up the soup like it's their last meal, and within minutes, things get crazy. They're shrinking, sprouting fur, and turning into mice left and right. Imagine a room full of people suddenly transforming into squeaky little fuzzballs. It's absolute chaos. The hotel staff comes in, and their first reaction isn't, oh no, witches. It's, mice. They start smashing the mice with brooms and shoes, not realizing they're wiping out one of the greatest threats to humanity. Irony much? Meanwhile, the Grand High Witch gets turned into the ugliest mouse you've ever seen. Like, if a regular mouse is Pikachu, she's more like one of those terrifying glitchy monsters you'd find in a cursed Pokemon ROM hack. She tries to escape, but nope. She gets squashed by the hotel manager himself, which is both gross and satisfying. Just like that, the witches are toast. The banquet room is a disaster zone, but the day is saved. Well, mostly. After the dust settles, the narrator and Grandma regroup in their room. Bruno's still a mouse, and, yeah, he's stuck that way because his parents are too useless to do anything about it. The narrator, though? He's surprisingly cool with his new life as a mouse. Like, he's fully embraced it. He and Grandma have this heart-to-heart, and it's actually kind of wholesome. He's all, hey, at least I don't have to go to school anymore, and Grandma's like, true, but also, let's focus on saving the world. And save the world they shall. Because guess what? The Grand High Witch's notebook survived, and it's basically a witch directory. It's got all the addresses of every witch in the world, and Grandma's like, you know what this means, right? Yup, they're going to hunt down witches like it's a season-long supernatural arc. Grandma's got her energy back, and the narrator is fully on board with being her tiny mouse sidekick. He's ready to go full attack on Titan on these witches, one country at a time. The story ends with this wild combo of triumph and determination. The witches in England are gone, the narrator and Grandma are closer than ever, and they've got a clear mission, take out witches worldwide. Sure, the narrator's a mouse now, but honestly, he's making it work. It's like he's unlocked a secret power-up, tiny size, stealth skills, and the ability to sneak into places humans can't. Plus, with Grandma by his side, you just know they're an unstoppable duo. So, that's the wrap-up, folks. From chocolate-loving disasters to mouse-powered heroics, The Witches takes you on a ride that's equal parts spooky, funny, and oddly inspiring. The witches thought they were playing 4D chess, but our boy and his grandma were out here flipping the entire board. Game. Set. Match.